foremost, thank Mr. Chris Richard for taking some time out to join us today. A lot of our scholars are really excited to just engage with a conversation with you, just about how you came to where you are today. And so we just gonna start off. If you could just tell our gentlemen, again, we have gentlemen all the way ages 8 up to about 14, 15 with us today. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and then just your.
Okay. All right. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. So a little bit about me. I won't get too long-winded, but I'm from Lakeland, Florida. Of course I played basketball. I'm sure y'all saw that on the flyers and all of that, but I didn't start off playing basketball. I actually started off when I was younger. I was into music. So I was in the band in middle school. I was in the band in high school. I was into arts and a lot of academic type stuff. So sports was of interest, but not so much. And I started playing football in 6th grade, and was pretty good, and I played all the way up until to high school. And when I got in high school, that's when I really, really started playing basketball. Up until then, before that, I was pretty bad. I was one of the players who got picked last, if I got picked at all. So I was like, I got third downs. I know some of y'all know about having the thirds down. You got the game after the game after the game. So that was me for a while. But once I got to 9th grade, my PE coach from my middle school was the coach for the high school that I went to. So he kind of recruited me a little bit to go to Kathleen High School. That's where I went. And from there, that's when I really developed and became the basketball player that I became to be, and a little bit the person that I became to be, because a lot of my friends went to Kathleen, a lot of people who I didn't know went to Kathleen. So, and I had a lot of great teachers. So for me, it was a pretty good experience. So like I said, I got to Kathleen. At the time when I got there, our head coach was a different guy from the guy who brought me in. And at the time, I didn't know until years later, my brother told me that I was so bad at the time. I was tall, maybe 6'5", 6'6" in 9th grade. But I was so bad that he was telling the other coach that he didn't want me on the team no more, so he was going to cut me. So my middle school coach vouched for me and kind of just told him I'd be all right. But long story short, my middle school coach ended up getting the head coaching job at the high school that I was at. And I just kept developing. A lot of my teammates knew that I never really played basketball, so they pitched in, helped me develop. I went to from that to playing in a bunch of travel leagues. These guys are young though, man. Every time I try to name drop, nobody don't know none of the players I played with. But in high school, I'm sure some of them know who Amari Stoudemire is. So we played on the same travel team. He was actually older than I was, but by the time I got to 10th grade, I developed and got so much better that I had all types of opportunities. So I went from a guy who never played, and when I tried to play, I never got picked. I got laughed at, got joked out, to now I'm playing with future NBA players and playing in front of NBA scouts and just a lot of people I'd never thought that I'd get to see. And from that, I just kept developing and getting better and going on and winning the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Florida. I won Mr. Basketball at the state of Florida. And from there, I went to University of Florida to play college ball. Yes, sir. Go Gators, baby. Yes, sir. And from there, we won a few championships. We won 2 national championships. We won 3 SEC tournament championships. We won an SEC championship. We won a lot of stuff. I was the 6th man of the year. It was a great experience for me because going to college gave me an opportunity to pretty much start my life all over, because I went from being not good to being a man in high school. I got to college and I still thought I was the man, going in with my high school self, my 18-year-old self, and now I'm amongst guys who've been playing for a little bit longer than I was and was a little bit more experienced than I was. So it was a humbling experience for me, you know what I mean? So I had to humble myself, start from scratch, get back in the lab and try to get myself to a place where I could compete to play, not to just win, but to just play on this team. So I did all I could, and eventually I got to the point where I was playing, not as much as I wanted to play, but even in that, I still had to humble myself to realize that the coach knew what he wanted to do with the team that we had. Some of the guys may not be aware, but the team that I played on in college, we had when I came out, we had 5 guys get drafted, and then the next year after that, I think we had 1 or 2 guys get drafted. So every year I was in college, I had at least 6 or 7 other NBA players on my college team. So our practices was kind of tough. If you came in with a bad day, it can get tough for you. So just being in those situations, It really helped me grow as a person. Then from that, because I was on this team, I got a chance to play with these guys, Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer. He's from Tennessee. I think they might know Corey. Hopefully so. Maurice Spades, he won the championship with the Golden State Warriors, and a few other guys. But I got drafted by Minnesota Timberwolves, number 41, and in 2007. I played in the NBA for a few years. My NBA years wasn't too long, but I played. I made it, and from there I played in the D League. After I got cut after my second year in Minnesota, and I was drafted number 1 overall pick for the NBA D League at the time, which is the G League now. But I was number 1 pick to the Tulsa 66ers. From there, I played a little bit overseas, and then just really got tired of the game overall. It really wasn't my passion. It was just something that I got good at, and I saw it was an opportunity to use for work. So it was either going to be that type of job or a 9 to 5. So I chose the basketball route. So it wasn't that difficult for me to stop. But that's kind of concise. I mean, I don't want to get into it too much, but try not to be too long-winded.
You good. And so you talked, which I'm appreciating. This might go off a little script because you talked about it not being your passion. And
right.
So what did you figure out as you were playing basketball? I guess when did you realize that necessarily wasn't your passion, and when did you take that leap of faith to realize you wanted to pursue something else?
You know what? Honestly, I knew once I got to college that it wasn't my passion because in a sense, I was kind of sheltered as a basketball player. So because I started playing so late, I wasn't privy, or I didn't really know about a lot of the different basketball recruiting sites and basketball scouting different stuff. So I wasn't that guy who grew up just, I got to make it to the NBA, if it's that or depth, you know what I mean? So it was never that extreme for me. So once I got an opportunity to play and get a chance to play, I just saw it as it's either basketball, like I say, or work. But I always knew that it wasn't something I won't say always, but once I got to college and I saw the business aspect about basketball, which a lot of people don't know it, it's real cutthroat. Most sports, most businesses in general, but I think when you're a product as a person, it's a little bit different. So you got to always be producing at the highest level. So one bad day, one bad game could be the difference in your life. You know what I mean? So just seeing that and seeing what I would have to do to compete and to be on teams, it wasn't really worth it to me. So plus I knew other people, probably wanted that spot, whether I could make it or not. And I just really felt like I'm wise enough, smart enough to do anything that I want to do. You know what I mean? So when you say, when I took that leap of faith, I think it was 2010. Once my mama backed me up, I told her, hey, I'm thinking about retiring. Actually, I retired like twice before I officially retired. And that was because it was like I had some goals. I'm like, okay, I want to make a little bit more money. I want to buy a house, cash. I want to do this. I want to do this. And to me, that was the way that I would get the funds and the resources I need to do those things. But once I spoke to my mama and she was basically told me just to do what made me happy and wasn't really trying to convince me to keep playing like everybody else I knew, okay, this is what I need to do and this is what I need to take a chance with. And I will say, in doing that, life has been a lot more difficult because I chose the hard way to go. You know what I mean? Because, like I know playing basketball is way more financially stable and free and all of that good stuff. But, it is what it is. And I really find that I have a passion for helping people and really kids. So I came back home. I started my own nonprofit organization. I'm doing different things in the community. I actually work with the Boys and Girls Club. Now, I actually started a gentleman's club, not a league, but a gentleman's club like you all have at a charter school here locally. And just that's where I get fulfilled at. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've done so much in life. I've been so many places, met so many people. I forget a lot about a lot of experiences because it's all been bonuses for me. It wasn't something that I sought out to do. So for me, it's like, if I, just ended if everything just stopped, the world stopped today, I think I'd be content with everything I did as far as those type of things. But I think it's a lot more that I can do as far as with people, though. That's what I'm learning.
I love it. So what would you advise young men that are, that the ages that we have on the call, what would you advise them in how to build confidence and how to build trust in just themselves and just how to build confidence as they navigate and grow up in this world?
Right. I find the best way, and I learned this later in life. I think I was doing it when I was younger, but just really, really figured out what to do just a few years ago. I think the best way to build that confidence and trust is to force yourself to do those things that you're not confident in. You know what I mean? So if you are scared to talk to people, you should put yourself in a position to talk to somebody every day. You don't have to be a lot, but make sure you say hello to somebody at the cash register. Make sure you say hello to the bus driver, the teacher, whoever you come across. And then within a week's time, 2 weeks' time, once you get good at that, now ask a question, just one question, just to kind of build a conversation up. And then before you know it, you'll be so much more confident in your speaking skills and you're just yourself in general to where you can do this at all times. And that's one thing that I had to force myself to learn because I'm introverted, but people don't think it because I know how to talk and I've been talking for so long to so many people to where it's just what we have to do, especially when you're in a situation when you want to help and give. So I think the best thing you can do is face your fears head on and just get into it. That's the only way you're going to be able to grow.
Love it. I love it. So I don't even remember where I was going. Oh yeah, you're saying school came real easy to you or whatnot.
Right,
So in going with that, so I'm sure with that you were making pretty good grades because again,
right,
trying
right,
to.
right. So,
So
so for me, it was the other way. I found that I had to put in extra work with basketball opposed to extra work with schoolwork. So some of the guys in here might be exceptional players already young. They might be, some of the best players in the state, city, county, young, where they might have to put in extra work in the classroom. I wasn't that good when I was young, so I had to put in extra work on the basketball court, running and being in conditions, just playing and that type of stuff. So the school, I went in, knocked it out, and did as much as I could extra with basketball.
awesome, awesome, awesome. So one of the questions that one of the gentlemen asked was, how were you treated as a black man in the NBA versus in life? So do you feel
Right.
like you were treated differently because you were an athlete in the NBA versus how black males might be treated in society currently?
Right. See, I know for a fact I was treated differently because I played basketballs. I learned that in college. You know what I mean? Like I know going to the University of Florida, it was maybe 50,000 students with maybe 2,000 black people, if that.
Yeah.
So just being in those type of situations and seeing how people talk and just see how they react when they don't know who you are, and then when they learn that you may be a athlete or something, they act totally different. So yeah, you'll get a lot of special treatment. People do a lot of things for you as long as you are playing basketball or doing things to make them happy. But as soon as you do something that they don't like or make a comment or something they don't like, they start to pull back. So you just got to be careful with everybody, but just anybody who's willing to give you something.
Like that. And so, looking back over your career, what was a pivotal moment that you would say was a moment for your success?
Uh, Pivotal moment, probably in high school, to be honest, going all the way back to high school. Because like I say, I started playing basketball in ninth grade. By my 10th grade year, I was on varsity. We won the state championship, and I got a chance to play in the uh, the semifinal game. And the coach put me in a pivotal time of the game. I think we might have been down or tied or something. I got a big block, which kind of changed the game. Then I got a foul or something like that. I had to make free throw. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that moment in time really changed everything for me going forward because that's what opened up the opportunities to play on the travel teams that I got to play on to get exposure.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So, what advice would you give to? We have a lot of our scholars who are on this call who play basketball, who are
Mm-hmm.
basketball. That's something that they really have a goal of theirs. One day, make it big and make it to the NBA. So, what advice would you give someone to become a great player and make it to the league? Hopefully,
Work. I think you got to grind. I think you have to put as much time into to your art as you do in everything in life. It have to become life at some point because you have to be trying to grow in every aspect of the game, from watching film to lifting weights to running and getting in shape to shooting and playing and all of that type of stuff. So you have to dedicate your life as soon as you can to a degree once you find it out because you're already at a disadvantage because it's other guys around the same age around the world who are already doing this. And then aside from that, with the middle schoolers, some of the 14-year-olds, you got guys around the world who are already playing professionally at that age. So when you look at it on a global scale, I think we have to really put in the work early and then still understand that no matter how hard we work, that dream still may not come true. You know what I mean? So just understanding that it's more than one way to get in the basketball world or whatever field that you want to get into if you really want to get into it.
And the last one of the questions that one of the students asked, and I think we've been really working on a lot of our young men about having the right temperament, respond to situations appropriately,
Right.
making good choices and things of that nature. And so one of the questions that they wanted to ask was, how do you deal with anger in tough situations? What are some of the things that you do as a resource to kind of calm you down in those situations?
I try to think as much as I can during the situation. So while things are happening, I just try to listen and take it in and just try to weigh out the pros and the cons and weigh out what the consequences may be, and if it's something that I'm willing to do and risk the consequences. And sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. But at the end of the day, I think just taking the time and just really realizing who we are. And at the end of the day, if nobody really did anything physically to us, it's not a whole lot of anger that we should let them bring out of us.
I appreciate it. Any last minute things you want to add? Any last minute piece of advice that you want to share with any of our gentlemen that are joined us on this call?
Yeah, I wish I could see him. It'll be a little easier. Now, for real, I think you got to really one of the biggest things that we didn't talk about, but one of the guys I think kind of mentioned when it comes out of parents is really understanding and realizing that they have our best interests at the end of the day. We may not agree to what they say, we may not see what they say, but when we get a little older, everything that they said will eventually make sense. So really just being obedient and trusting in our parents, because they can save us from getting into a lot of trouble if we let them. You know what I mean? Because they try to teach us from their experience. They might not tell us everything that they did, but they may put it in a situation for us to navigate and not get in that trouble. So we got to be listening to our, even if not our parents, or a positive role model.
I appreciate it. Well, Steve, I greatly appreciate you taking some time out to just chat
Yes, sir.
today. Yeah, and scholars. So I'm gonna give you all like 2 minutes. If any scholars have any real burning questions you feel like you really want to ask, go ahead. And I see Jalen, your hand went up real quick. So go ahead, Jalen, take yourself off of mute and go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so did you regret retiring from the NBA?
Not at all. I actually, that's probably the least regret I have, because I feel like had I not retired, for one, I might not even be sitting here talking to y'all who enjoy or who appreciate whatever we're talking about today. Then aside from that, I wouldn't have had a chance to grow to the person who I am. Because I think once you get in a certain position as far as success, you start to, life isn't as real as it seems. You know what I mean? Kind of in the fantasy world, because so many people want to do stuff for you and act certain ways because you are who you are. So me getting the chance to slow things down and getting back home really put things in perspective for me and help me grow. So no, I don't regret it at all.
Chris, go ahead and take yourself off of mute. We can hear you, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
I just want a question, and it is, how do you just like stay calm if somebody make you in the NBA? How come just like stay calm? How come like not act mad, but know you mad, and you try to act calm?
You was breaking up some, Chris. So I missed.
I think you're asking how do I stay calm in, I guess, tough situations in games, and he was talking about basketball.
That was it, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was it. Yeah, that was it.
To be honest, Chris, Basketball is a little bit different, so I'm not as calm when I'm playing and competing because sometimes I want to win so much that certain types of sportsmanship go out of the window for me. I ain't saying I just be doing stuff and trying to fight people and that, but I think in a situation in a game, if somebody do something, you might just let it go in that moment, but you'll figure out a way to get them back later on. You don't have to do anything like to hurt anybody or, you know, be malicious. But at the end of the day, when you compete, and I think it's a little different from when you living in the real world. Sometimes when you playing sports or things that you know you got to win, you got to win. You know, so sometimes it's okay to let your anger out as long as you can control it. So you can be calm and poised, but still be a little angry at the same time.
All right, and then the last question that I think they want to know what famous players have you played with, and I guess do you know? They just want to know which players have you played with and that you know.
I played with I played with LeBron. I played with Derrick Rose was one of my teammates. I played Kevin Durant. Kyrie was too young. I'm trying to think. Russell Westbrook. Kevin Love. Who else? I'm trying to think of some guys they know that's not too old. Shaq. Kobe. Dwayne Wade, Kevin Garnett. Mostly everybody who was playing from a few years ago. I won't say all of them my friends, but I got a chance to meet them and get to know a lot of them and play with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So again, I think that's all the questions we have for you, Rich. So again, I appreciate you joining us, and I know on behalf of all the boys,
Yes, sir.
I'm so appreciative of just have this time to chat with you, to hear a different perspective. That's really what we're trying to do, is just trying to get them exposed to so many different positive Black male role models in the world, so they can see that they too can aspire to do whatever it is that they want at some point.
Exactly.
I appreciate you.